All right, it says you are live. So, hey everyone, welcome back to the Dynamic Duo, the Dyna and the Electric Guy Duo, the Dyna, the V Rod, and the Sportster, the guy with the glide duo, whatever you want to call it.
Y-
Welcome. I am Chopper Fett, and as always, my trusty sidekick, Mr. Fletch EG. How we doing, Fletch?
I'm all good. I'm all good. Uh, the two of us. Well, we may not be called the dynamic duo anymore, but at least we're Grogu and the Mandalorian,
There you go. Well, which one am I?
right? Obviously, the Mandalorian,
Oh well, of
right? I
course,
just
right.
I just do googly eyes and go you and drink my coffee.
Drink your coffee, eat the eggs, you're
Yeah.
good to go.
Oh yes, especially the eggs in the morning. Yes, the eggs.
Very awesome. So, tonight we are going to, as you can see at the bottom scroller there, that I have so elegantly put in here to let you guys know what the conversation is about. We are going to talk about the Harley Davidson Sportster S. Now, this thing has blown up the internet bigger than was it Kim Kardashian's butt when she did the champagne thing and it flew over and she filled the whatever.
Ooh,
We're bigger than that
okay.
here today.
No, no.
So
Yeah. Much
uh,
bigger than that.
much
That butt.
bigger, but yeah, the Sportster S, it was announced on Tuesday of this last week to the world
Mhm.
that Harley Davidson is ready to change things up. So, Fletch, do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about the Sportster S? You work for Harley Davidson, and you kind of have you get to do all the excitement because now you have to go out and sell these things too. So, why don't you tell us a
Exactly.
little bit about the Sportster S?
For sure. I think before I do begin, as everyone knows, I work for the dealership here in Singapore. What we're going to be talking about is not about insider information. Everything is public knowledge. I'm not going to disclose anything that's confidential, obviously. Otherwise, I get my butt kicked. But we will be talking about most of the. I love being whipped. Um, Most of the stuff that we're talking about is public domain. I may have a little bit of information I may be talking about, but again, it is not something confidential. It can be assumed. I'm just maybe confirming it and all that, and so on and so forth. So that out of the way, the Sportster S is obviously something that we're all looking forward to. We have been told that it was the death knell for the Sportster range, which was in a sense true because we're talking about the Evolution engine that has been around since 1986. Imagine that, right? Hey, Donovan, what's it? And at the end of the day, when you look at the Sportsters and it's been around, they've had a few changes: the panhead, the knucklehead, and then finally the Evolution engine. And it's been around for a nigh on 20 years or more, and hasn't been changed since. And I think it's about time that they've updated uh, that particular range. And I'm also very happy to say that I can stop saying that the Sportsters are not produced anymore. We got a new one,
Right.
and they're finally moving on to something a little bit different. The powertrain is exactly the same as the Pan America, except that they've named it, if you notice, the Revolution Max 1250T, not the Revolution Max 1250. That because the reason is not because they've downsized the engine, but it's more because they have uh, down-tuned it a little bit for various reasons, which we will get into at a later stage in the performance part of our topic. So we'll try to keep it a little bit simple. We talk about appearance, style, comfort, performance, and stuff like that. And we're trying to keep it within that thing so that we can be a little bit more focused on it. I must say that over the last couple of weeks since we finally got the Pan America, and obviously because I work in the dealership, we take a lot of people out for test rides, and because it hasn't been officially launched here, we still have to do a guided one, and we've planned a much longer route and so forth. And as I was just talking in the green room with Brett, that I actually have taken it out more now. In the last time we talked about it, and I said it wasn't so impressive and so forth. Now that I've taken it out for a much longer route, and I've taken off a route that allowed me to go through twisties and up fairly bad roads and stuff. I could say that the engine has the power that it promised. It has uh, the ability to do whatever they have promised, including the how it handled on twisties and the suspension and so on and so forth. But we'll get more into detail later on, because then we can translate the Revolution Max into the Sportster S, right?
Cool. Yeah, man. And I mean, when you think about everything that Harley's done just over this past year now, so I think it all kind of started, I think, when the new CEO took over, some German guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Um, but what's nice about him is you can tell that he's an actual motorcyclist in himself. He's not just a suit trying to make a profit. He actually wants the company to succeed, not just for his longevity as CEO, but I think he actually wants to share his enjoyment with motorcycling and get it into a modern world that we're in. Now, what I do like about what they're doing is they're not saying that liquid cooled 1250cc bikes are going to replace everything. No, they're just bringing out some new ideas right now that are going to basically fill a void, because like you were saying, Fletch, the Sportster, the Evo, I think, has been around, actually 35 years. And it didn't start getting fuel injection until like 2006. And there's not really been a major power increase from the Evolution motor. It's been incredibly reliable. I mean, it has that going for it, but the 883 and the 1200, they haven't really evolved, I guess you could say, along like with everything else is going on around them. So like in the video that I did this last week, where I compare it to a Triumph Bobber, the FTRS, and whatever the third one was, I can't even think of it off the top of my head. But until now, Harley had no answer for those bikes, those small, not crotch rockety, but very sporty-ish type bikes. And so that's what's exciting about this is they are realizing, okay, our target audience, our main audience, might have 20 years left of riding. The guys who like the potato. But what's going to happen when they hang up their boots? And so I think this was a smart move to start getting younger people, even younger than me, into possibly getting into motorcycling. Now, maybe the Sportster S isn't going to be it for them, because the Sportster S is still a $15,000 motorcycle. Yeah. But I think, like I said in another video, the Pan America laid the groundwork for the Sportster S, and I'm not sure what else Harley has in store, but I feel like the Sportster S is laying the groundwork for probably some other stuff down the road that has not been revealed to us yet.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think both of us have ridden, and I think Brett obviously still owns a Sportster. I've ridden two in my life. I had the one that I own was pre-EFI as a carbureted one, so that's you get the potato thing and all that. It vibrates so much that you can't see through your mirrors and shit, which was the beauty of it, right? I think that's the reason why I bought the Sportster in the beginning was to get my bones shaken through, and then to be able to appreciate when I'm on a wheelchair or something. I don't know, when I as a geezer, right? But I think it's an iconic machine. Like I said, I've owned two, and I think both of them accumulated was almost 100,000 miles that I put on it, and it was basically bulletproof. Really, I've had no issue. The only standard issue that all of us would have would be the gaskets blowing. If you put too much stress on it, because we're trying to keep up with the goddamn V-twins, right? So then, when you push it, then that's what you get anyway. So
and you're also the blunt of all jokes when you got to fill up again for the Sportster guy. We got to go to the gas station again for the Sportster guy with his little 2.2 gallon or 3.2 gallon tank. We got to fill up, and hey, most of those guys are ready for a break after 110 miles anyway. So
I know. I remember when I was on the Sportster and I was out with these guys on the V-twin, and I'm like getting a coffee or something. As I'm coming out from the petrol station with my coffee, everybody's like giving the middle finger to my Sportster because they're going, okay, god damn it, we're gonna have more stops before we get to our final destination. But screw them. I love the Sportster, right?
Yeah,
But I
I mean,
think Joachim Zeiss, sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So Joachim Zeiss, the CEO for
That's his name.
Harley Davidson, that's his name. Yeah, I have to say it right because I work for them, man. Right. So Joachim Zeiss, anyway, was as they say, he's not just a poser. He's not a suit. He rides motorcycles, and I think he's taking them off into a new direction, knowing that how iconic the Sportster range was. But he needs to make sure that he will continue to do the V twins and keep to the traditional market and all that. But here's the thing: we're all aging out. If they don't get a new generation in, then nobody's going to be riding the Harley Davidson. I mean, in here we get a lot of kids, 20s, 25s that still would get a cruiser, but they're still going for like the Sportster S. Sorry, not the Sportster, Lowrider S and the Fat Bob 114 because it looks a little bit more modern. It fits their style. They don't look like a couple of old men. I mean, I usually have conversations with them. Yeah, I love Harley Davidson. I see a couple of these old guys on Harleys at the coffee shop. And it's like, okay, wait, stop calling us old guys. Shit. But I get it, right? So we all get it. We need to be able to get to that market. And eventually they're probably up to the cruisers and maybe even the geezer glides that I'm riding. Who knows, right? So ultimately there will be a market for it.
Yeah, as we all age, it's inevitable. And so, if you're in your 25 and young 30s, you want the sportier ride because you're living life. You got your bones don't ache. You don't wake up and go, oh, how do I? Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, yep, there it popped. Okay, there we're good. Now we're good to go. I'm 38. That's how I feel.
Exactly.
But eventually, there's still going to be a place for those cruiser motorcycles, the ones that don't have any vibration, the ones that you can go 200 miles on a sit without needing a stretch. Eventually, everyone kind of gets to those points. I haven't yet, but the appeal of it has definitely kind of raised an eyebrow to me because, there's some days I do want to put some miles down, but the bikes I have aren't capable of that.
Right.
They are, but with a lot more breaks in between. So, should we kind of get into maybe some people's reactions about this bike? I thought I could throw the link to the StreamYard out there in the side chat. We can get some people's in because I think you and I, we're both on the same page. We're excited about this motorcycle. I want to hear some other people, some people who probably ride some Sportsters already, see what they think, because it's a major change up from what everyone is used to knowing a Sportster as. So let's go ahead and we'll throw that in the side chat. And in the meantime, we can just keep on chatting.
Exactly. So talking about let's talk about the looks and comfort, perhaps, as we're waiting for anyone to come just pop in. I think aesthetically it looks pretty good. Not too sure about the white, but I think the red one looks really awesome. Crimson Red, I think it's called, something like that. Anyway, it looks pretty cool. There is the fact that it is forward control helps people like myself. It's both of us actually above 6 feet, right? Otherwise we'll get bloody crushed after a while. In fact, the Pan America is, I think, a little bit cramped for me when I was riding it, and especially since I've been doing a lot of road time on it already. I realized that the foot position is not really a mid position, so it starts to be a bit cramped. So I'm glad that he put a forward control on it. The seat, I think the seat. If you look at the seat closely and you compare it to the seat on the Pan America, actually it is designed the same way. It's probably a little thinner, but again, I've had some saddle time on the Pan America, and the seat really is plush, better than the GS because I've ridden the GS as well. So I would say that it would be fairly comfortable. Not sure if it's good for a long ride, but when you watch the reveal, they did mention about seats. In actual fact, they have a special sundowner seat for touring, a 2-up one. They also have a separate pillion seat if you want to keep the OEM one, which is from pictures is pretty plush as well. I think it's probably looking at about like 14 inches as well. So then at least your princess or queen will not get a butt ache when she's riding on it. The only thing that I cannot find, because if you go to the Harley Davidson site and look at the parts and accessories, they haven't listed anything at all. And as far as I know, they haven't mentioned a sissy bar, which I think is important, because if you got that kind of power on underneath you, and knowing us guys, and we do it as well on our big twins, right? We just jack the throttle at a traffic light, right? And then suddenly when you look in the mirror, your princess is on the ground, way behind you.
Your bike's 120 pounds lighter. Yeah.
Exactly. Say, oh shit, I'm really going here. And I look, said, princess, where are you? And then you see her sitting on the road, cross-legged, and with the helmet still on, trying to ride the road. It's not a good sight. I don't know.
So we do have a few people coming in now. We do have. I do want to point out in the side chat, there is a new channel that started kind of following me. I'm watching him now, Kraken's Garage. Good channel. He gave me a nice little shout out. I think either today or yesterday. So thanks very much for that, Mr. Kraken. We got Road Rash here. I know he's got some thoughts on this. We got Travis as well from My Done Life. And there's another character sitting back here in our studio waiting to come in. Get your earmuffs ready for your children when he starts talking.
I know who this is.
But first, let's start with we'll just go in the order as far as when people came in. Road Rash, buddy, how are you doing, man? It's been a long time since I talked to you.
Hey, Dave.
I am doing all right. I'm not doing too bad. So, I'm liking the new Sportster.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying it's too expensive. But when you look at the technology that comes with it, I think it's well worth the price, in my opinion. People are saying, "Oh, it's the same price as a Street Bob."
Yeah, but you don't get any of that stuff.
Exactly. The Street Bob doesn't come with anything. It's bare minimum, right? So you're getting cruise control, you're getting rider aids, you're getting a digital TFT display. You're getting all this stuff, ABS brakes and everything like that. I have heard the sound of that engine on one of the motorcyclists, I think it was. They were standing around the bike and they fired it up. It does sound very Japanese. I'll give it that. It doesn't have that Harley sound. It definitely sounds more like a Japanese bike.
Sure.
But there is another bike that they have, and in that reveal video, they did reveal a little bit of the other Sportster, because this is the Sportster S. There's going to be another Sportster that comes out, and there was a little reveal, and I don't know if anybody remembers seeing that, but they showed the back end of the bike, and it looked just like this here in my picture. If you see that, bring my screen up bigger, right? And it looks just like that, and that looks,
they actually do. They showed the front as well.
Yeah, they showed the front as well, and well, what it looks like is that this is what the bike's going to look like. That's what the next Sporty's going to look like. It's going to look a little more traditional than than the Sportster S. This is going to probably be the next one that comes out, and a lot of people don't realize that. They're looking at the Sportster S and they're like, "Oh my god, this will probably be the next one that comes out." It's going to have a little bit different frame. Of course, everything all mounts to the engine, because the engine is the main frame, and then everything else mounts off of it, right? It's the stress member of the whole bike. So this one here, Buddy's saying, is probably only going to be a 975. It won't be a 1250, so it'll have a smaller CC engine in it or whatnot, but this is going to be a little more traditional to what a Sporty looks like. And I think this one here, if they were to put a 1250 in this one, I think this would have been a better idea to go with the 1250, opposed to the other bike that they're going with, right? The S model. But the S model is going to be, of course, the most advanced one. But this one here looks pretty interesting too. I kind of like the look of this one. Mind you, the exhaust looks horrible, but other than that, it looks a little more interesting than the S model does. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, to be honest, okay. I mean, that it's actually going to be two more models coming up, right? And from if you really go through it and watch the end one again, actually, the Bronx is coming back.
Oh yeah, the Bronx will come back. I think so too. It's just they're
Yeah.
just putting that one on hold right now. I think they're just slowly going to release.
No, they're not.
No,
No, they're not. No, they're not. It's basically the same engine. So it's going to be a Sportster 2. The S is the special.
and the
Right? That's the
special
reason
that
why it's
has-
called
yeah,
S.
yes, because
right?
it's going to have all the fancy stuff on it.
Exactly. They will have the entry level one, which is the one that you showed just now. It'll still be a 1250.
Yeah.
And then the Bronx, which is a
Well, the
Street
Bronx-
Fighter.
Yeah, but that one's supposed to be a 975.
Again, I'm not.
Originally it was a 975. When they first showed that bike. A couple of years
Again,
ago.
yeah, I know. Again, that is speculation. But
Speculation.
as far as I know, they will still keep that particular displacement rather than go the different way. Because you know why? Here's the reason which I wanted to speak about earlier, and one of the reasons why I think someone's not on mute though. I'm hearing an echo. What's happening is that the reason why the Evolution engine is being phased out is because at the end of the day, most of the outside world is going to Euro 4 and Euro 5.
Well, that's
They
just it.
cannot, they cannot already sell the Sportster in Europe,
In Europe, yeah, it's discontinued.
and they
there.
can't do it in Asia either because we've all conformed to Euro 4 and Euro 5,
Yeah.
especially here in Singapore. So that's the reason why they're phasing it out, and that's the reason why they need to keep to that. 975 may not be Euro 5 spec.
Yeah, well, they're going to phase that. That's basically going to happen here in North America too. Like Canada, they're going to do the same thing. Eventually, Canada, they want to go by 2050 or something that all electric vehicles.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Hey, Travis.
Hey,
is that
how's it
why
going?
they is that why they did the premiere of the whatever in Scotland to draw Europe's eyes?
Yeah, of course,
pretty
for
much.
sure.
Yeah, and the
Sure.
fact that the Davidsons are originally from Scotland before they immigrated to America.
Yeah, that's right. Mhm.
We'll go down. Travis, what's your initial thoughts on the Sportster S? I know you have some.
Yeah, I will say thank you for having me come out and have dinner with me, and I have a new part for my motorcycle that Brett provided, so I do appreciate that. I also got some more poker chips, both from him and on the trip, so that's always fun. Now, with that said, as far as the Sportster S, I think it looks kind of cool. It's different. I do appreciate that. I agree with a lot of other people. I think that exhaust is probably going to burn the crap out of somebody's behind, but it is what it is on that. I am a firm believer that it was overpriced. I think it's about $1,500, maybe $2,000 more expensive than it should be. Because when I look at it, you're going to pay within $2,000 of a Pan America. I would buy a Pan America over this bike. I think Pan America is more versatile. It's got more horsepower. It's got almost pretty much every feature this bike has for $2,000 more. So
They're not built. Not to interrupt you, but they're just to add to you to please expand on that, because they didn't introduce it or redesign it to compete with the Pan America. They redesigned it, so to speak, in theory, to compete with the the Chieftain Bob or whatever it is, and sort of. So,
well, it's really more to compete with the FTR 1200.
I agree.
Thank you for someone agreeing with me on that. Finally.
I mean, they do look a lot of that conversation. I didn't mean to cut you off, Travis. I was just saying.
No, yeah. I guess for my thing is, if I was looking at, I'm looking at pretty much a similar platform, looking at similar motor, and I'm looking at capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 is not a lot of difference in a payment. It's kind of that you really have to want this bike over the other, in my book, to warrant it. And again, it fits right in the price of a bunch of other bikes they're already selling.
What's the? I mean, I don't know. What's the? Who was it? Said the FTR. That and the Bobber. What are they? So FTRX. So what are they selling for Indian?
Same price.
15,000, exact same price.
Well, I mean, that would to me, and just that's just to me, that would explain why. Somebody said that I'd read a comment on somebody else's channel saying that the Sportster S, it's that LED up display is not touchscreen. Is that true?
It's not touchscreen, no.
Nope.
But you can control it with the D-pad on the handlebars.
But I mean, to be fair on that though, guys, I mean, I feel like sorry, didn't mean to start that. So, to be fair on the whole touchscreen thing, it's like, is it really needed? Because most of the time when I have gloves on, I can't do anything. But this was just a quick little thing that I made that shows the comparison between the Sportster S and the FTRS and how I think that they look very similar to each other. Kind of like morphs into it here in a second. And it's just like the body lines, I feel like, and everything are very similar. I thought I hit play. There it goes. And so the FTRS does sit you up, I think, about an inch higher. It does come with a rear set or mid set compared to the Ford. So that's it. But I got a lot of flack on my video because a lot of people thought I should be compared to a Scout Bobber. And to me, it doesn't look nearly the same. The lines aren't the same. You sit too low. So sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up there. I just started autoplaying. I thought I was going to be able to save that for later. But there's definitely reasons why I went that route. But I think they came to play ball against Indians. What it boils down to, though.
Well, and if you're thinking about the FTR and you're looking at the two exhausts, you can kind of see where Harley decided to go this way and Indian decided to go this way. Yeah, and I kind of understand why Indian did because, like I said, I think it's going to burn everybody's rear end.
So I heard somebody earlier today say that it was a live stream from last week, but the guy, I think it was Sprinkle or Salty that said this. He says the Challenger looks like a Goldwing and a Vaquero bumped uglies behind a dealership. Right? So you could, with you, Travis, saying that, I would actually say that kind of looks like the FTRS and the Bobber bumped uglies behind the Indian dealership, and now you have the new Sportster.
Yeah, it
Paul?
sounds like that, doesn't it?
I see you down there, Paul. I see you. So
hello.
I got to know, Paul, first, is your bike done yet?
Hello, gentlemen. I'm on my best behaviour today. There'll be no language at all.
No, let it rip, bait.
I hope you're all doing well, and I'm just in a very, very behaved mood.
This is not Paul.
Get the fuck out of here! Are you gonna be fucking kidding me? Are you ever gonna be fucking like that? You must be out of your fucking brains.
Yeah, now that's the Paul I know.
Yeah.
And there weren't any chances of me monetizing. Paul just threw it out the window.
Fuck money. How much fucking money you gotta get anyway? We get fucking $2.50.
50 cents per 1,000 views. Lovely.
Fucking fantastic. I'm just gonna bought a fucking condo with my income.
For the record, Moto Ramblings,
sorry.
I didn't call your wing ugly. Salty called the wing ugly.
They were bumping uglies.
They were bumping uglies.
Yeah.
No, I meant condom. Sorry, that was the amount of money I got from my revenue. The bike is just about finished. I put up some photos of the tins the other day. I reckon we just about done in about probably 2 weeks' time.
Nice.
Okay, that's awesome.
So
what are your thoughts about?
My thoughts on the Sportster? Yeah, I reckon it looks alright.
Yeah.
I don't like the exhaust at all. It's a shit, awful ugly exhaust. But but the rest of it, I reckon it looks good. Something different. Better than some of the other stuff they put out in recent times. But I think the Pan America is a good looking thing too. I mean,
That wasn't shot across any bows, was it?
I think the Pan America looks okay, but I just don't. It's not nothing that I would nothing that I would buy myself personally, but I think it looks good. It remains to be seen. I think it's the problem with the Pan America. I see it'll be a very US centric bike because of the spare parts thing. Like most adventure riders around the rest of the world are going to be going down the lines of Yamaha and Honda and all that sort of stuff because you can get spare parts in the middle of Somalia somewhere if you're going to be doing that sort of stuff. Whereas the Pan America, you'll struggle with that. But hey,
give it time.
Give it time. Yeah, I just can't see just the way Harley sort of does things. I just can't see that being a thing where they're going to be, where you can go to your local milk bar or convenience store and grab a part and fix it when you're maybe in the back blocks of Kazakhstan somewhere. Whereas the other ones, even I think even the tires are a little bit different size. So, but the Sportster, I like the look of it. I like the look of the other one you put up before. The that was a 975 coming out.
Hey,
I said I like the look of the other one that you put up before, which is not the Sportster S, the other one.
This one.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon that looks good.
No, that one looks good for sure. Hopefully the oil tank is not right under your butt, so you get a hot ass in the summertime like this one here is, right?
Oh, I had an older version of what you got, and that would burn the backside of my leg all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But don't forget, guys, it's a liquid cooled engine, and so I don't think you're going to get very much problems. Again, like I said, I put a lot of saddle time. I put a lot of saddle time on the Pan America, obviously, because I'm in the dealership. And really, it is far cooler than most of the engines, with the exception of the GS. It's just slightly cooler. I think they need to look at the design of the cooling fan. It's on the left-hand side of the rider, and the moment after you take it for a good ride and you hit a traffic light, when the thing kicks in, then suddenly you're getting a little bit of heat up your skirt, But that's, I think, a design thing. They probably come up with some kind of deflector or something. But other than that, it's a pretty cool bike. It's pretty much cooler than, say, the KTM and stuff like that. So that being said, that's the same engine that's going in to the Pan America. The oils and everything else is not under your seat. So it should be much cooler than the twin cams, right? So most of us come from twin cams. And the twin cams cannot compare to the Milwaukee 8, and just like you can't compare to the Revolution Max, it'll obviously be much cooler, for sure. So that the comfort bit will probably be handled in that way. The seat, I don't know. It looks a little bit like the Pan America. The Pan America seat is very plush. I mean, I took it out very often yesterday, especially because I had a lot of test rides that I led on another Pan America. And even going through the twisties and taking it out on the highway and everything else, it was pretty comfortable. It had no saddle sore or anything else. So
how long are you riding it for, though?
About half an hour.
Oh, okay. Go take it for a 2-hour ride.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, even with a 2-hour ride, even the GS guys were saying that, even sitting on it, they know it's going to be much more comfortable than the stock seat from the GS. But you know how everybody is. You're not going to keep it stock. You're going to find some alternative. To the point that Paul was saying about, again, not because I work for the dealership, but because at the end of the day, they have designed stuff for the Pan America that you can get parts easily off any normal motor shop. The only problem is the actual engine. So you're basically screwed if something goes on, unless you find a dealership nearby.
Yeah.
But in Kazakhstan, I doubt it. Right.
How many of those bikes have you sold so far there?
We didn't have very much stock come in because we're getting ours directly shipped from the United States.
Yeah.
And we actually had people bought the machine sight unseen.
Yeah, we had at my dealership. I've been in there a couple times. Mm-hmm. First time I went in there was a special. They had a special in there, Pan America Special. It had a sold sign on it. And then they had the standard, and it wasn't for sale. I went back again, and they were both gone. And then I went back again, and they had another one in there. And then I went back again, and it was gone. So far, I've seen 3 that have gone through my dealership here. So, but however many they've sold like that, I couldn't tell you. But I know that they're not staying in stock. They're pretty much selling as soon as they're coming in.
So we're basically sold out.
Yeah,
we're basically sold out.
The Bluegrass HD is the same way. They have a waiting list, and everybody on the waiting list has already bought the bike. And then we went down to Florida last 2 weeks to Walt Disney World, and we stopped in by Gator. We stopped in by 4 different dealerships. Seminole, all those were Blockhead is, and every one of them, if they even had a Pan America on the showroom floor, it had the sold sticker in the handlebars. Every one of them. So
I mean,
at least in the States, at least in the area that I'm in, I still have somewhat of an affiliation with Harley Davidson, but not like I used to. And Brett, I told you kind of how that whole deal was going down. But I've seen a lot of Pan Americas come through. So I mean, they're churning them out in pretty good numbers, all things considered. Now the funny thing is, on the trip home, I stopped obviously to get more poker chips. And I saw a Pan America in a particular dealership. And I won't say the name of that dealership, but let me tell you, they were charging almost $2,000 in dealer prep fees.
Jesus Christ.
Why? Okay.
It was a Pan America special. It was the loaded one. They wanted almost $23,000 for it.
No, it's fully loaded, spoked rims and bags and all that.
No bags.
Okay.
It did have the spoked wheels. But
the dealerships I've seen have also said it's hard to get the bags in stock.
Wow.
Yeah, I read an article the other day that was from I don't know if anybody ever follows it's called Owl, and they do they kind of keep track of anyway. So they were talking about that Harley HD is not. They're not as corporate, at least what I read. If I understood it right, they said they're not reining in their dealerships for raising prices above MSRP, and part of that, at least again, this is what I'm understanding, part of that was also because they're trying to drive people to the certified pre-owned program for the used bike stuff for that stock. So
okay, I can't speak for I can't speak for the United States, right? So here in Singapore, we're still governed by the regional HQ. And we are not to go over suggested retail price. In fact, we're giving a lot of freebies to promote the thing. As you know, we're just an island off-road, and it's not something that you do very often, or even go through bad roads or whatever, because everything's well kept and our borders are still bloody closed. So we can't do that. But we're throwing in a lot of stuff and in fact, we're giving little discounts and stuff over the suggested retail price. But yes, they have a guide that we have to follow at the end of the day. So we can't be doing these kind of things.
It's funny, Brett, that same dealership also had a revival bike that was over sticker.
Okay. I bet it was 10K over sticker too.
I seen a revival bike. I finally seen one of those things. I've got it on video. It's going to be coming out sooner or later. My God, is that thing ever a nice bike? Oh, buddy.
But the thing is, that bike has almost the opposite problem with the Pan America. The Pan America looks great up close and in real life, but I don't think it pictures very well. And then that particular bike, like, you can't picture the paint. It's got a pearl in it you just can't capture on film.
Yeah, the revival's nice. Yeah, I got all excited. I was riding with a bunch of guys from work, and I was like, all right, let's get going and go on this ride. And all of a sudden, Buddy comes rolling in on a revival. I just turned my bike off, got off my bike, and went straight over to him and just started talking to him. And at the same time I was talking to him, all these old Harleys and Indians all started pulling, all these vintage bikes. And I was talking to the guy, and he belongs to a vintage motorcycle group and everybody has old vintage Harleys and old vintage Indians. And I was just like, oh my God, I wish I could just stay here and just film because it would just make for some great content. But I'm with all these guys from work and they're already leaving the freaking parking lot and taking off down the road. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm catching up to you guys. So I kept there for a few more minutes, got onto my bike and took off as all these old vintage bikes were pulling. And sure enough, down the side of the road is the guys I was riding with waiting for me to shake. All they're shaking their fists at me. Like, what the fuck? I was just like, damn, I shouldn't have pushed this that quick. I should have waited around another 10 minutes, right?
Exactly.
Some beautiful old bikes come in and they're all in just patinaed, the original patina, the original paint. Nothing was fixed up. They're all just rattly and look great. But yeah, one buddy was a revival riding with them.
Talking about the long distance on the Pan America too. Do you guys follow Whit Meza? She just did 48 states in 9 days on a Pan America.
No, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, a ridiculous number of miles. I think she rode 16 hours the first day.
Wow, I couldn't do that on my own bike. I did 2 weeks ago. In fact, it was that same ride where we ended up riding all the way up to Princeton, BC and back again. And I left my house at 8:30 in the morning and I got home at 8 o'clock at night. And by the end of that ride, I was just screaming to get off my bike. I just wanted off my bike.
But
I was done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Done. Yeah,
that's awesome. I think going back to the Sportster S, I know that we've all just only seen videos, just like the Pan America and everything else. I think when you look at the Sportster S in terms of performance, it's going to be fairly similar. But as you know, because they called it the 1250T Revolution Max, they've down-tuned it to 121 horsepower.
Yeah, it's supposed to be more torquey. I think that's why the T.
I mean,
low end torque like the Sporty would have.
Actually, not really, but I mean, it is torquey because they have to tune it a little bit different. I mean, if you realize that all the other bikes that we have, each of them are tuned a little bit differently, even though they may have the same displacement, simply because of the type of bike you're talking about. So if you have the Fat Bob and the Lowrider S are tuned with lower torque and higher end, and then you have the others that have a more seamless or a flatter curve. Then you have the Tourers that have the 114s or the 107s that have a low end, far more low end torque because they need to move 450 kgs. Yeah. Right. Because you're talking about that kind of weight. So in the case of this, they're looking at a street friendly bike that could be able to produce that kind of torque on the takeoff, and then hit the horsepower at lower revs. Because for the Pan America, it's 4,000 to 5,000 RPMs. For the Sportster S, you're looking at between 3 to 4, which is easy to hit. Right. Yeah, because it's supposed to be more of like a Street Fighter kind of performance, even though it's not in looks.
Now, the other thing about that new Sportster S is that new Sportster S gas tank is actually smaller than my gas tank. It holds less fuel than what I have in my Sporty.
Yeah, it's a few more miles per gallon.
It's...
but then again...
sorry, go ahead, Fletch.
Sorry, man. I mean, I know that in terms of the fuel capacity, it may be about similar. In fact, it's similar to the Roadster at 13.1 liters. Sorry, I'm going metric because that's all I know in terms of the specs, right? I haven't thought about converting it to gallons. But because of the kind of engine it is, and because it is liquid cooled, you will probably get much more better consumption than you would get from the Evolution. Just like the twin cams against the Milwaukee 8s. Yeah. You notice that when the twin cam Softails were replaced with the Milwaukee 8s, 107s for instance, against the 103s, the tanks were from 18 liters dropped to 15, but you still get the same kind of mileage that you get from the 18, right? So it's all about performance anyway. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that capacity, because I believe that even at 13.1, you would probably end up doing 300 miles, 300 kilometers on the full tank. So what is that in miles?
150-ish.
After 50 miles. Yeah. So that's still pretty decent,
that's
right?
That's about Sportster-esque.
Yeah,
I mean,
and well, the thing is, was after like I was saying on my bike when we did that ride a couple weeks back,
Mhm.
we were 14 kilometers out of the town that we were heading to, and by that time I was just dying to get off my bike, and that was just going to where we were going. We still have to turn around and ride home, right? And I couldn't wait. I was watching every time we passed the sign saying how far the Princeton was. I see 7 kilometers and then I see 3 kilometers. I'm like, just come on, hurry up. Just get me to the gas station so I can get off this bike and stretch out because, yeah, I don't even think a comfortable seat would even help. Because, my butt was sore. By the time I got home, I think it was numb for the next 3 hours after.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
and that's the thing.
Going on,
And
Anonymous.
kind of brought up a good point here in the side chat, and this is something that Harley has never done, and I think it's maybe a sign of the things. Now, obviously, that they did it earlier in the year, but Harley Davidson putting horsepower figures out there for the general media. So if you look up your specs on most twin cams and Milwaukee 8s, you'll see a torque number, but you won't see a horsepower number, which
No.
I don't know why Harley Davidson Harley has ever kept that a secret, because most people could just hop on a dyno, and I know mine makes 77, 78 horsepower or so, but I think they're using it now because they knew in their head their horsepower numbers weren't in the game. So we're not even going to talk about them, but we'll throw out our big giant torque numbers to sell the bikes. Well, now they have a horsepower and torque number that they're actually proud of. And so I think they're going to start putting that out there as an additional selling point. It's like, hey, we make as much horsepower as the FTRS. We make as much horsepower as this BMW and this, that, and the other thing. We're legit now. So,
Fletch, would you say that was a direct shot at Indian?
Yes, that's true. Because at the end of the day, I have the marketing thing. I'm not gonna go into it. That's obviously.
Honestly,
no, but it's true. No, it is. It really is. I mean, they're going up against the Suzuki 109R. They're going up against the Indian Bobber, the Triumph, and especially the Indian FTR for sure. So they know where they're putting themselves at. They know that at the end of the day, they need to produce the similar numbers as well. They need to be as modern as possible because, at the end of the day, even with the Milwaukee 8s, it's 2017. So we're nigh on 4 years into that engine already. And everybody's moving on to liquid cool. Nothing wrong with air cool, but, it's about the modern technology and putting on. And when you look at the electronics that they put on, so they got a 4 or 5 inch round display, and it's got everything that you need on a modern motorcycle rather than guesswork. You got a TPMS, you've got your fuel gauge, once connected to HD Connect app, you got your GPS on it, you got all that information that you need to be on it, plus the ride modes. Sorry, Brett.
Not to cut you off there. Here's what I think they did. They waited for Indian to play their card with the new FTRS this year, and you show us what you're going to put out there, and then we're going to try and one-up you on every single thing. Because, like I said earlier, I don't need it to be touchscreen. I'd rather have a TFT display that I can see in any daylight, sunlight, nighttime. That's not going to get hit with a bad angle, versus an LCD that if you hit it at the right angle, you're not seeing jack shit on there. Pardon my language.
Not only that, I mean, how many of us, even these gloves that say, hey, it's touchscreen compatible or whatever, never quite works right. The thumbstick is way better on a motorcycle than a touchscreen.
Exactly. And if you look at the controls, sorry, mate, continue.
You got something to say, Paul?
I was just going to, I thought about it before, just on that touchscreen stuff. And you're talking about, normally I've got gloves and all sort of stuff. There's a you would have probably seen them. I think Shade Resurgent. They're called Odin gloves. Odin Manufacturing. They got the flip top fingers. Yeah. If you haven't got them, go and get a pair. They are the most comfortable gloves I've ever had ever. Really, really comfortable, nice and warm, and just the best thing ever. Because no matter, I've got the other ones with the active fingers and stuff. They still don't work as well as those. You just flip them back. They're easy to use. I thought maybe they might go out of shape and that they might start tearing at that flip top. Nothing. So if you're looking to get a pair of gloves,
how long have you had those?
about 12 months.
Okay.
So a year.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've got a pair too. And my only issue with them, I love them. They're comfortable as hell. The only issue I have with them is they flip up arbitrarily. They flip up on their own now without me wanting them to. I'll be riding and not pay attention and find that one of those flips has come up off my thumb or my pointer finger, either one. But other than that, you're right. I would agree.
Easier to get in the finger, right?
I've got the black vetted ones, the permeator, whatever they call them, the black ones.
Okay, the ones I got are the I think they're called the originals, and never had an issue. I spoke to my my doctor as well, and he's thinking about getting some flip top ones for prostate exams and stuff.
And they're good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that flip up piece are.
AB, I swear.
I've asked him if he could please.
Nah, AB, that's not the case, man. They're not the case until they get the battery operated vibrating ones. Then it's self-stimulating.
Like I said, as long as he cuts his fingernails, I'm happy. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it does. They do good. So, but I wanted to ask. I want to throw out the crowd there and Fletch, anybody. So, with Pan America, I mean, we know they've been playing that one for a while. But with the Sportster, does anybody think that the Indians winning King of Baggers last year has affected anything with Harley and have they made any massive?
Yeah, because the King of Baggers, Harley won it this year.
No, but that was with Screaming Eagle. I'm just saying, do you think that doesn't affect? I'm wondering if it affected their baseline up to Screaming Eagle engineering, their thought process is what they're going to add to the bikes, what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Hopefully it means Harley's going to look at their suspension, because if there's one thing I think Harley is lacked has been suspension and brakes, which they're starting to get better in the brakes. I mean, they're finally using larger brakes, Brembos.
Well, that's why I say all of a sudden now Brembo's on the brand. It was on the Challenger when it came out. I mean, you're starting to see some stuff, and now people are going back and forth with, somebody's copying somebody or somebody's copying somebody. It just makes for good competition.
Right. That's my dog going off. To answer that question, actually, since 2019, all the tourists have been on a new suspension. They called it the emulsion shocks. And also stock is still Brembo, right? So you got the dual disc brakes and Brembo brakes front and back. They're still on Showas for the forks, but they've gone the emulsion shocks on the rear, and actually it's got better travel than pre 2019. Now that I'm riding the 2020 Electric Light Standard, it actually has more travel than the older ones, because I've ridden the 2018 Street Glide and I felt everything, and it was like riding a salon car on that. And then now on my EGS, it's like a Mercedes S-Class. I mean, seriously, I could go through everything and I don't feel it. And that's just stock, right? I would definitely, at the later stage, put Olins on it so that I can handle it. It still doesn't handle corners very well still. Stock. It still slides a little bit, or chops. But I think there is a marked improvement against the old ones. But I'll go Olins for better performance, for sure. But and looking at the baggers with the races and everything else, for sure. I mean, this is a test ground for them to be able to then move and improve on the suspension. And I don't know if they're going to change the frame again, but they've changed it in 2017. I don't think they've changed. It's a well-proven thing. So they're probably going to look at the shocks and then maybe the tuning of the engine a little bit more. Because anyway, with the new CBOs is 117, I wouldn't be surprised if in 2022 they're going to up the Tourings to 117s and then they push the thing up to 123 for the CBOs. Who knows, right? Who knows?
Okay, Brett, that link that I put in there, on the private chat. That is a comparison that Buddy did called Bikes I Like. Is his YouTube channel. He's got the 13,000.
That's a great video. I know which one it is without even clicking on it. Yep.
Yeah. So but if you want to put that in the normal chat for other people to watch, and it's the Harley Davidson Sportster S versus the Triumph Bobber, the Indian FTR, the Honda CB1000R, and the Suzuki M109R. He does a comparison of all the bikes, taking their weight, the horsepower, the torque, and all that other thing, and then he kind of calculates it and puts it in a simulator to what would come out in front. And the other thing, I will drop down here in the basement so you can let Buddy upstairs so I can go grab myself a beer and have myself a smoke.
I'm actually ready to drop out. I got to hit a bid.
Oh, okay. Well, Farley's going to drop out.
I'll get a bottle too, guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks for coming.
I'll catch you on the flip side, mate, Paul.
Yeah, no worries at all, mate.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you coming on. Thanks for keeping it somewhat PG NC-17-ish. So thank you.
See ya.
All right, see you, man.
See ya.
And thank you again, Brett. And we'll catch you.
Travis.
We'll catch you later.
All right.
You know, one thing before we continue, though, I wanted to say, which I wanted to say in the beginning, you know, congratulations to Brett Chopper Fett and his channel getting 1,000 views, man. Subscribers. Bloody well done after all that work. I remember when we both started out, you were in the low 200s or something, and now almost a year later, right? Think about it, because we started this in a lockdown. And we had that, it was March last year, exactly a year. And you've now finally hit your milestone. Congratulations.
You know what bugs me about that? You did it in shorter time than I did it in.
God damn it. You know,
so
it took me 4 years to get to 1,000.
I have like 4 videos that got me probably 70% of my subscribers. So that's really what it boiled down to. So
yeah, I had a few videos that got me a lot of subscribers, but what it didn't get me in subscribers, it got me in watch time. So I was way over.
I'd almost rather have the watch time in the views, honestly.
Yeah.
So
good night, fellas.
We've had this guy sitting. See you, Travis. Have a good night, man. We've had this guy sitting in our side chat for a long time. I've been messaging him directly, wanting to get him in. Skella Steve, check out his channel as well. Check out all the channels that you're seeing here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to promote, I am trying to promote because that's what I do here. I want everyone to grow. But Skella Steve has a really, really cool channel. I really like what he's doing. How you doing today, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Just living the dream.
How's my mic? This is the first time I've been on one of these things, and
it's good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool.
So,
what's up, Toby?
How's it going?
So, what are your thoughts, sir?
I gotta say, Chopper Fett, I need you to move me up here because the whole skeletal face thing is kind of giving me He-Man flashbacks.
especially it's out on Netflix, right?
By the power of Grayskull.
What, should you get that before us over there in Singapore? Because I don't think it's coming out till next month for me.
No, it's not yet. I mean, I watch Kevin Smith and all that, so they're putting it on the 23rd of July or something, right? It'll be something to watch. The childhood cartoon thing. Anyway, Scout Steve, give us your thoughts on the new Sportster S.
I like the look of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't care for the price of it too much. The performance seems pretty cool. I'm not a big Harley guy. The one thing I do really hope for is that they bring out like one that is like the classic Sportster look. If they can bring out one like that.
They are.
They are? Okay.
They are.
Right. Looks like sure. That'd be nice. I know
like
people like to mod those.
Brett needs to adjust our pictures a little bit better, but this is my picture there is what the next one's going to look like. It's
hold on. Keep it there for a second, dude. Keep it there for a second.
There you go. That's good. That's what I have to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Yeah.
That one's going to be probably one of the next ones that are coming out.
For sure.
Right. So it has more of that classic Sportster look. It's got the dual rear shocks and the fender and the fender struts that we're familiar with.
Any price point on it or guess?
No, not yet. That's still that one there will probably be just your standard model. Probably won't have the digital TFT display. It'll probably just have a normal gauge like most of the Sporties do. It may come with hopefully it comes with a freaking gas gauge.
I believe that it will still be the TFT, but less information on it because, like I said, the Sportster S with emphasis on the S is because it's a special.
Yeah.
If they come out with one, it'll be just like the Pan America and the Pan America Standard. The TFT screen remains, but you have less functions on it. Your basic functions will still be there. Your HD connect will still be there. You still get your maps and everything else. If you connect to,
you probably won't get ABS and stuff like that in rider modes. Is probably what.
You will definitely still get ABS. That's still standard. What you probably get is either less. You probably get still the rider assisted because don't forget, besides the standard modes, they've added as stock the rider assisted cornering thing. Then you got the ABS, electronic link braking. That will be probably standard, but you probably won't get all the modes, right? Because you got 3 modes plus 2 customizable, so there's 5 modes altogether at the end of the day. So that's a special.
So looking at this one here, that he has this concept wherever it came from, but so to me, when I look at that, there I think Indian Scout. So
yes,
that's. I mean, if they really do that, they're really setting themselves up good, especially if they still keep it in the 90 to 100 horsepower range to keep up with the Scout. Someone did say Indian did recently trademark. It's a Indian Scout Rogue or something like that. They don't know what it's about yet, but there's been a trademark filed for that name. So I don't know if they are going to, take what Harley has given them with the Sportster S, and if they're going to come back with some other special edition of their own. I feel this is actually a very exciting time to be a consumer because for the longest time we were told what to buy. Now we're getting choices on what to buy, and that's very exciting for us. People who have to drop $10,000 to $15,000 for a new motorcycle. So
that's true.
I kind of personally, I really like this one here a little bit better than the S model myself.
It's classier. I mean, it's more of a classic look for sure.
It's definitely kind of keeps that Sportster heritage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been around since 1957, and of course it came up with the Shovelhead when it first came out.
That's right.
And then after the Shovelhead, then it went to the Evo in '86. And then, not much has changed about that bike, but so hopefully that one does really well. I kind of hope that one does really well.
I might be naive, but it looks more like a Sportster than the Sportster S does to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, the Harley Davidson has moved towards this direction because, like I said, they know the legacy of the Sportster. They know they have to keep it because just like the Fat Boy is iconic, the Sportsters are. We can't run away from that. Well, and they know well enough.
It's the most iconic bike Harley Davidson has. It's been around since 1957. Exactly. It's a true American motorcycle. When you look at all the different bikes that Harley's ever put out, nothing is so synonymous to Harley Davidson than the Sportster is, right? Everybody knows what the Sportster is.
Yeah. And no, I mean, this is the positioning that Jochen Zeiss has put out and that we will keep out. In fact, they're probably going to put out some more marketing to show that they're positioning it back, the Sportsters, because they need to keep that line. At the end of the day, it's still the one they started off with. It's the one that they won races with. It's the one that propelled them when they were facing the Japanese bikes that were coming in the 70s. Right, that's the reason why, if you noticed, and I think I did a video sometime back about the Sportsters, that they're the only ones that don't talk in cubic inch. They're all in cc simply because they had to go against the Japanese bikes and the European bikes who were all in cc's, and they were competing in races. So they needed to have the displacements in cc. So that's why it's 883 before, 1200 later on, right? So that's they know where they're at, and they know where the money's coming from, and they know where people recognize. I mean, if you look at all the movies from the 70s and 80s, they're all Sportsters anyway, right?
Yeah, I see them all the time.
And the Black Rain, for instance, right? That's the most iconic. The start of the movie, he's having a race on the XLR.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very iconic. They need to keep it, but they need to go They need, as I said in the beginning, they need to meet. They can't just be selling the Sportsters in the United States. They have a worldwide audience and they have a worldwide market. And because of the push from the European Union and Euro 4 and Euro 5, including us in Asia, not just in Singapore, but in all the other parts of Asia.
It's going to come to North America as well. Don't worry. Like, Canada's already kind of pushing for that stuff as it is here in Canada.
Exactly. I mean, a little background here in Singapore, because we've all really had an agreement with the European Union, and we've had a death knell of the Euro 2 motorcycles. That I think beyond 2028, nobody's going to be riding a Euro 2 bike because they're just taking off the road. They're just telling them, sorry, you got to scrap it. You can't keep those things on the road. We need to keep to emissions. So then the Sportster is just gone. So they need to make those changes.
If that ever happens in Canada, mine will just become a museum piece because I won't scrap that thing. I'll take it out in the middle of the night and fucking rip up and down the streets if I have to.
No, but here's the thing. You're Euro 4, right? Yours, you just bought it last year. Yours is a 2020, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so 2020 is still Euro 4, so you're still good.
Yeah.
Right? It still meet all the Euro standards and everything else.
Not anymore. I changed the exhaust. See the exhaust? The exhaust is on.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't meet those standards anymore.
No, it's the engine and the emissions, okay. But at the end of the day, you could have gotten yourself a Euro 4 spec Vans and Hines, and you still be good.
No, I wouldn't go with Vans and Hines, man. Those are belly button exhausts. Come on, jeez.
or whichever. I mean, I'm not sure I forget what you put on yours.
Those are Cobras. That's okay.
Cobra. So if the Cobras if they are EU5, you're good.
Those aren't. All those are pretty much. It's just a straight pipe with a baffle in them, and the baffle has nothing in them. There's just a metal baffle that goes in there. Right. Compared to my stock, mufflers, when I pulled those things off and I looked inside of them and I seen all the honeycomb and stuff like that, because the caps are built right in the exhaust. Those things are heavy. Just one muffler was heavier than that entire exhaust I put on the bike.
Sure.
I think I agree with Chopper. Chopper made a statement earlier, and it goes right in line with what AB said earlier. You put on there. I hope they keep going tit for tat. Like you said, Chopper, it's a fun time for the consumer because whether it's Hinga-baggers or whether it's the small base bikes, we get to see some real innovation, and hopefully they're both going back and forth with it against each other. I mean, it just
I hope so too. But I think the biggest thing I will take from the Harley and the Indian is. The one thing I was always said about the Indian is it's not a real Indian because it was bought by Polaris, right? The name was purchased by Polaris.
Don't get me started.
But I like the way the engine looks, the way it's blacked, and they got the silver lines that show everything out. Now with the new Revolution Max engine, it's a sexy engine, but it just doesn't have those really snappy lines like that the Indian has, right? So they might have to revamp the way that motor looks or something. I don't know, but maybe it's just me. All that gold and stuff on there, I think people are going to get sick of that real fast, that magnesium color or whatever it's supposed to be. They should have just blocked it out or whatnot, put fake fins on it, whatever. But I don't know. It's just, to me, I think when you compare the two engines, I think the Indian engine looks a little sexier than that engine does. And I'm not really a fan of Indian bikes because I think like the Chieftain and everything, they're just kind of too gaudy, too ugly in my opinion. But that's my opinion. I don't care if you love them, you love them. If you don't, you don't, right? Everybody's got their own opinion, right? So I ain't going to push my opinion on someone else. That's just
all right. Yeah. So here's another thing I wanted to talk about here tonight, while we still have a few minutes here, is this is one thing I thought maybe Harley Davidson might have missed a little bit on. So we all know the Sportster is a bike that is meant to be customized. Like it is, you have a bajillion parts for it. You can go probably to AutoZone, O'Reilly's, and buy parts for your Sportster. It's just, they're everywhere. But what I felt like they missed out on was a very good opportunity to actually do a lot more, because all you're going to get off the get-go is your derby covers, some extra grips, and they're all from like one collection. I know other companies will come out, but
give it time. You got to remember, really
time. Yeah,
you got to give it time. They're not just going to sit here and just,
right.
They still have to get the bike in the market first and see how it sells.
The market with your own stuff, though. That's the thing. Instead of waiting for Kiriak and Memphis Shades to make all those parts for bikes, you could have in-house developed it and sold it yourself and not lost to that third-party consumer.
Well, they might be planning on doing it.
But if they put all that R&D, they put a shit ton of R&D into all these aftermarket parts, and the bike doesn't sell. The S doesn't sell, but the other one does. This picture here, that one sells and the S doesn't. Why put all that money? Like, first you got to put the bike on the market and see how well it does before you start throwing a lot of money into R&D, right?
How hard was it for the Pan America? How much resistance have you seen from the traditional Harley family towards receiving the Pan America? You've seen quite a bit.
A lot.
Yeah, your tradition. That's so you're going to have some serious traditionalists resisting this new body style, the new Revolution map. So I think Road Rash is right on with that. I agree with you in that they have a perfect opportunity here, but I don't think it's a mistake of their part release.
Maybe
you hear what I would say?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So here, let's see what he says.
Fletch has got that insider information there.
Okay. Let's be clear. No insider information. Yeah, I'm telling you from a public knowledge and a little bit of how things work. Right. So let's take the Pan America first. Yeah. It's out. It's public knowledge. It's out on the roads. Everybody's got it. Great. For the Pan America, they know that the traditional off-road or adventure touring guys, they love whatever bike that they bought. They will have the P&A parts and accessories from whichever company is putting out. But they also know well enough that they're going to go aftermarket for sure. Everybody does that, right? The smart thing that Harley did was that they worked together with Revit. They worked together with SW Motec to produce those things. They just branded it, right? So offhand, you've already got aftermarket parts on it, just with the Harley brand, right? So if you look through the catalog now, you realize that actually they're doing it. Yeah, they're probably going to do the same thing for the Sportster S. I know that, don't forget, they just only launched it 2 days ago. They actually have a full P&A catalog for the Sportster S. They're just not putting it out all of it just yet because there's a couple of considerations you need to think about. Number one, the bike's not even here.
Yeah.
Number two, right? They just give you an idea, and they will definitely have OEM parts besides going for collections. Number two, supply chain. At the end of the day, United States is easy to get stuff, right? The moment they put out the full catalog, you guys order it, you get it in a week at the very most. It's the rest of the world that gets to be a problem.
Yeah,
right. Everything gets shipped out for the United States, not China, but the United States to us, and then it takes a while to get to us. So if they're going to put out the full catalog and everybody's going to go hog wild and buy everything off the catalog, that's going to put a bigger strain on their supply chain. So they're going to put it out easily, slowly, just like they've done all the other models as well.
Somebody said to me yesterday too, is like before that bike came out, I'm sure all these aftermarket companies already had spec sheets sent to them to make aftermarket parts for bikes.
They have.
So all these aftermarket companies are probably already starting to make their parts and get ready for when that bike is being released, and they'll slowly get put out onto the market, right? You have to give it all time, right?
Exactly.
Like you said, it just got introduced 3 days ago, the 13th.
I want it now.
Yeah, so do I, right? The funny thing was, I was at the Harley dealer the other day. I had to actually grab some exhaust nuts for my bike because I lost one of them, and so I was grabbing a bunch of those, and I says to him, "Any idea when that new Sportster S comes in?" He goes, "Nope, have no idea. You'd probably be better to ask the sales guy over the parts guy." Yeah. One of my nuts came off, so
oh no,
go put a new one on and tighten them down. I was wondering why my boss was so loud.
Fletch, can you tell us something about what I'm seeing here? I'm assuming these are pretty much stock replacement tires, or are these some sort of special tires in their parts? Because
no, they're stock.
$330 for a 16-inch tire? Good Lord.
I mean, that Harley tax, dude. Remember that? You're paying the Harley tax.
I mean,
Harley.
My V-Rod tires, which are 240, wasn't even $330. I mean, that's
okay. Let's be honest here, guys. To me, is you see their Dunlops. You know what the product number is. You could easily get it off another shop. You just don't get the Harley brand on it.
I want my Harley
right?
logo, though. I want my Harley.
Yeah, just paint it on if you want to.
Brett, what you're saying
at the end of the day,
what you said a second ago, and with this, is exactly goes in line with what Road Rash and Fletch both just said. The Americans were spoiled by that supply chain system. We all. I mean, how many people have we talked to? I know you've talked to. I've talked to. We've said it on our own videos where parts are 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks delayed, months delayed, whatever. And in other countries we don't think about, they're like months. To hear it within a month is a blessing to them. So
it is.
They're waiting 3 to 6 months, and as long as the containers don't fall off the container ship on the way over there, like
we'll get stuck in the canal.
Let me give you an example, right? So I'm in Singapore, if you don't know where I am, and basically my EGS is 2 months old, and I had to put because if I decide to have the Princess behind me, I needed to have the sissy bar, right, and the docking station. So the sissy bar and all that took 2 weeks. The Princess bar. So to put the Princess bar and pad, I got that in 2 weeks. But the docking station was on back order, and I had to get it from the United States. It took 2 months. So imagine if anything was on a back order here in Asia, it would take easily 2 months, right? You won't see those kind of numbers. I know I should have, right?
You should have bought it. That way he could have bought it. You could have had them race across the world to each other to see which one you got first.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So
you buy it in the States and have it shipped over by plane instead of freaking boat.
Yeah, but I get dealership discounts.
What was that question?
Oh, so Kraken was wanting to know, Fletch, how well in Singapore the Roadster sold.
Oh, the Sportster Roadster, is that what it's referring to? I assume.
Yeah.
Very well. I think the Roadster sold far better than the 48 or the IN A83 or the IN 1200, because again, it has slightly more modern look as opposed to those other bikes were the real traditional. That look hasn't changed since the 80s. Right?
Now, is the Roadster still available there?
No. I'm all left with the 48, and that's it.
Yeah, you guys only have the 48.
Wow.
See, we can't even get the 48 in North America. They don't even.
Really?
Or do they? Yeah, they do. Is the 48 still around?
It is. This year is the last year.
Yeah.
Right. So they actually based on what I remember, it for 2021 they've only produced the A83, the IN 1200, and the 48. We've got next week we'll receive the last 2 ever 48s, and that's it. Game over.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you better buy one.
No. not after riding a Giza Glide. Nope.
Trying to trade in the electric guide for a 48. I think that's the most economical thing for you to do, Fletch. So
yeah, probably.
As your financial advisor, I strongly recommend it.
Sorry?
Is this the standard Fletch that you bought? The Electric Glide standard, the one without the stereo system and shit?
That's right. I have the Electric Glide standard, but that being said, I'm still waiting for Fathead Cycles to send the Sony plug-and-play bundle to me. It should be coming in next week. So then I'm a Street Glide, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what I call Street Glides over here in Canada?
What?
I call them belly button bikes because everybody rides one. That's all I see is Street Glides. Street Glides.
That's the second time he said the word belly button. Didn't he say Vincent Hines was a belly button exhaust?
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody has them on their bikes.
So everyone has a electric ride with Vincent Hines is what you're saying. So.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I noticed those guys that ride Street Glides and road glides, they must be scared to take their hands off the handlebars because they never wave.
Oh, come on. That's what cruise control is for, man.
Those guys never, every time I wave, they don't wave. I'm like, what's the matter? You scared to take your hand off the handlebars? Is the bike going to shake out of control on you or something?
No, they thought you were riding a Yamaha.
All
I thought
right,
you're on a bolt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Brett, I gotta say, man, I'm having a real hard time reading Skull Steve. Man, is this cracking you up? Are you laughing? Are you talking?
Oh, I'm laughing.
He's staring you down, Toby. He's staring you down.
By the power of Grayskull. No. Oh my god.
Is that part of a helmet?
No, it's actually just a like paintball mask that I bought on Amazon. I've had this thing. Well, I've had different ones for several years now. I was wearing a mask before wearing a mask was cool.
Nice.
Back then, though, people would stare at me. Now nobody bats an eye.
Yeah.
Now you're just another face in the crowd.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, what was it? Was it Dark Knight, or which one was it with Bane? Is that what his name was?
Bane, yeah.
Oh, well, guys, it is getting pretty late here. I thought we had a very good discussion tonight. I want to thank all of our guests, Road Rash, Steve, Toby, Paul, Travis.
Thanks for coming.
All for coming in. Everyone there in the side chat. I didn't get to everyone, but thank you all for coming in. I think Fletch. I think we had up to 27 concurrent viewers tonight. So I'm just going to put the word Sportster S in all of our live streams going forward, and hope that hopefully that continues anyway. But
For sure.
But oh, look, my dad's still awake. That's so awesome.
Oh, hey, Dad.
Hi, Dad. Hi. But with that being said, though, Fletch, go ahead and send us out.
All right. Listen, guys, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll get another live stream very soon again, two times in a row. I think it's pretty good in a couple of weeks. So once again, thank you very much for all the people in the side chat. Thank you very much for joining us, and especially for Scout Steve, Toby Norton, Road Hash for sticking around, and for the rest like Paul and Travis, right, that came in earlier. Thank you very much for joining us, and over to you, Brett.
And I am Chopper Fed. I'm Brett. And yeah, thank you everyone again for the support. Without those people in the side chat, I would not be at where I'm at today. So thank you, everybody. And catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Peace out. Take care.